Good morning, sunshines. My name is Em. This is Life's Table, and we are going to finish off this week with one of my childhood favorites, fawn cooking, while we review more of stress management, resiliency, and ways to perhaps build resiliency in case you're feeling like you're not quite there yet. We'll get to that. Tie back your hair if you have to, put on an apron if you've got one, and let's get cooking. Good luck, and we've got a lot to learn today at Life's Table. So we are going to start by preheating our ovens for the bacon that we will be using. If you don't have an oven, obviously bacon can come together beautifully on a stove top as well. I like to oven bake mine, most especially because I like it on the drier, kind of crispier side. I'm preheating my oven to 400. You can also just get the stovetop pan ready to go. I will be doing that as well, getting this heated up just while we assemble our ingredients. And let me get 2 mixing bowls out here as well. It's going to be one of those make your wet ingredients, make your dry ingredients, and then combine. Now, what I will say about this recipe, pfannkuchen, which is essentially the equivalent of a crepe. It is going to be a very flat pancake. It's going to be very liquidy batter. So do be prepared for that. It's not your traditional pancake by any means. Small and then medium, and then we are going to take 1 cup of flour. We last talked yesterday how we all have resiliency as this like muscle, but some of us have had more opportunities to exercise it and build it and develop it and strengthen it than others, and as such our perceptions of how resilient we are going to differ. For my pan, I'm going to go ahead and set my burner to medium low is a good place to start for pancakes in general, but certainly for pfannkuchen. We're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt now. The rest is actually going to be liquids, which is exciting. It's easy. For our liquids, we want 4 eggs. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then 1 cup of milk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2. If you've got 2 tablespoons of sugar, go for it. For maple syrup, it's a 3/4 to 1 ratio. So if it's 2 tablespoons of sugar, what that actually translates to is 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then I'll go in and whisk the rest of this. So what I want to do with you all is just do a little practice of, making a mess, sorry. Do a little practice of ways to build some of that resilience in a controlled environment, because I don't necessarily want you hearing things like you should be excited about stress and go out and seek opportunities to challenge yourself without knowing how to process that stress so that it is in fact productive and not potentially harmful. I'm now going to put wet into dry. I'm going to try really hard to just pour this into here, and that way I can use the spout to pour directly into the pan, which is warming. If you don't have a measuring cup, that's totally okay. We're looking at about a 1/4 cup of batter, ultimately going into the pan. Give this a little bit of a stir to get some of that salt mixed in well. And then I'm pouring wet into dry. You want to get the clumps out. The amount that we are making should make about 4 servings worth, about 8 pfannkuchen. I'll get some butter into this pan just to see how the temperature is looking. Wait, don't start. Sorry, you're about to watch me make a critical error. I need you to make sure that your pans are hot enough to cook this pfannkuchen.
And the way that you test that is when you drop the butter into the pan, if it sizzles, it's hot enough. If it melts, but it doesn't sizzle, your pan's not hot enough yet. Make sure that your butter is sizzling before you pour the batter in. If you don't, and especially if you pour the batter in and your batter doesn't sizzle either, you're running the risk of it sticking to the bottom of the pan the way that mine did. Please, please, please make sure it's hot enough so that it doesn't stick. Listen for the sizzle, and if you don't hear it, it means it's not hot enough. Don't proceed. Maybe turn the heat up a little bit. Do what you got to do. The first pancake is always the tester. It's always going to have something not quite right, and then as you go, you adjust the heat, you adjust the butter, so on. That's fine. But listen for the sizzle, and if you don't hear it, it's not hot enough. The second thing, when you are cooking the pfannkuchen, what you will notice is the color changes, and that's how you determine when it's ready to flip. And what I mean by that is you'll see it first on the outside layers. They will begin to lighten, and as the pancake cooks, the lighter color moves towards the center. Once it hits the center, then it is ready to flip. Hopefully that saves you from all of the issues that I ran into when cooking these. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, but it is still delicious, and you don't give up and you keep trying, and it's going to be so tasty. It will be okay.
So I'm gonna set this back here on the side, off to the side, and cut open my bacon. I'm going to lay this flat on the broiler pan, like so. I will be doing all of them. If you want to give yours like a little coating of maple syrup, just to get it caramelized, this is gonna go in. Because it's turkey bacon, for me, I only need to do this for about 13 minutes or so. If you're doing regular bacon, you're gonna wanna do it for a little bit longer, closer to like 15 minutes. And if you want to, you can give a flip halfway through, and that way both sides will crisp up and cook nicely and evenly. All right, I've got my pan ready to go. So here's what this is going to look like. You give a stir in between every pour because things tend to like to separate. Again, we're looking for about 1/4 cup going into this pan. And I pour in the center and then move around like so that it evenly coats everything. Talking about now ways to build resilience in a controlled sort of manner. We think about our body subdivided into 4 categories. The first one being our mind, our mentality. Ways to build up resiliency through the mind is going back to that changing our relationship with stress. Changing that approach to, okay, no matter how difficult the situation is, it is still an opportunity for growth. This is a challenge that I can rise to and I can get through and succeed in. Another way to practice maintaining that semblance of control, because that's also part of it, right? Believing that we have control in those stressful situations helps us to better navigate them, is through things like meditation, or what we call mindfulness. Practicing that 2 feet on the ground, head in the present moment sort of thinking. This one, the first one is always the tester one, and it's almost always not quite what you're hoping it'll be. That's okay. Moving on from the mind, we can talk about the next most obvious one, which is the body. When I talk about resiliency in the body, I am talking about feeding yourself well, so maintaining a good diet, because we are what we eat, and if we eat junk, not a whole lot is getting utilized and optimized for performance. And here we go. Yes. All right. It is still very much a test one. It's not at all going to cooperate, but we're getting there and we practice. We'll do a little more butter just to keep this next round from sticking in the pan. Beautiful. Here, a little sizzle. You give this a good stir, as we pour about a 1/4 cup. So as much as I crave the junk when I'm stressed and when I'm undergoing significant challenges, I know that it is better for me to eat healthy. I know that I perform better when I'm eating healthy. The only thing that that burger and fries does to my day is put a dead halt to it, because all I want to do afterwards is take a nap. Do what you can to eat healthy. Moving on to the second, while we get the bacon out of the oven, at least I do, we can focus too on the exercise. Amazing. A little more butter. Stir. 1/4 cup. Give it a whoosh. Perfect. Exercise, and the reason why it's so good. It is me intentionally doing things to stress myself out, to stress out my body, to elicit that stress response. When I go for a jog, I am doing everything that my body associates with stress. My heart rate is elevating. My breathing is faster. I'm becoming flushed. My temperature is shifting and it's changing. All of those things that we associate with stress and stress management. My thoughts might be focused and clear, but also they might be going a mile a minute as to like, why am I doing this to myself? What was I thinking? Let me do those things to intentionally stress myself out, to practice handling stress. And with time, like with exercise, I build stamina. It takes more to get me to that elevated, stressed out state, and I stay there for far less time. Exercise is good for stress management because it's the drill for the real thing. The last one for body is sleep and getting good quality sleep. Now, there are some of us who increasing quantity of sleep is just not feasible. Every second of my day is already dedicated towards the things that it needs dedication for. If I cannot increase quantity of sleep, then there are definitely things that we can do to increase quality of sleep. And I will give like 1 or 2 right now, but I think we are going to have a whole week dedicated to sleep and sleep quality coming up in the future. 1/4 cup. Ways to get better quality sleep. Ensure that your room is quiet. Ensure that it is cold. Ensure that it is dark. Dark, quiet, cold sleep is the best quality sleep. If that can't be done, the closer you can get to that, the better it is. If you've got a highway right outside of your apartment, the way that I do, there's not a whole lot that you can do for noise, but we've got a fan in our room. The noise of the fan helps to drown out the sounds of the highway. Getting a noise machine to help kind of drown out some of the outside sounds. Great way to go. Those blackout curtains were a game changer for us here, because with outside highway sounds also come outside highway lights. So we got blackout curtains and our room is great. And I know that with temperatures being as hot still as they are here, it can be a little expensive to have the AC going cold the way that our bodies just biologically prefer. But if you can, what we do for that is keep it relatively normal temp during the day and then just drop it at night so that it's not running all day at this cold temp, but it is running when we need it to at the cold temp. And then there are ways as well to increase quantity of sleep. And I know that I'm very guilty of this. There are some nights that I stay up 1 to 2 hours past what I had initially wanted to go to bed at, just because I'm scrolling, right? I'm down some rabbit hole that I can't seem to get my way out of, and it happens. But there are also ways to get around that too. First, if you have a no screens in the bedroom policy, great way to go. I know some of us need the screens we say we need the screens for alarms and alarm clocks. And sure, if that's really you can't afford a cheap $10, $5 even alarm clock, then that's okay. You can't. But then you can do other things like set I think it's called like bedtime on your phone. You can adjust your phone settings to say, hey, do not let me scroll on the internet. Don't let me use the internet after 10 o'clock at night or 11 or whatever. You can set the times. And don't let me use it before 6 a.m., whatever it happens to be. So moving on from our mind and our body, let's talk now about the importance of having a purpose, having some sort of meaning and some sort of value stance in your life. These are the things that matter to me. This is what drives me. This is what I want my legacy to be. However you want to put that, having that. If you haven't gotten there yet, maybe if you thought you knew, but life has changed and life has happened and you're not so sure anymore. The way that we build resiliency is by finding that thing that will cause you to say, I need to keep moving forward, right? An obstacle cannot be overcome if you just don't feel like getting over it. To just rise to an occasion, to just accept a challenge unnecessarily, there's no internal motivation. There's no push to say, yes, I want this. This is why it is worth the struggle. This is why it is worth the stress that is associated with it and causing it. That is a way to build resilience, is finding that purpose. Have that drive. And if you don't have it yet, find it. Find that purpose. Find those values. And there are actually ways to do that. You can go online and do, they're called like values sorts. It's basically you going on and it'll start with like 100 of like, here's, quick and dirty, like family, volunteer work, friends, teaching and mentoring others, being outside, fun, travel, what have you. And of those 100, you then narrow down, this matters a lot to me, this only matters a little bit to me, this does not matter at all to me, or I disagree with this even. And from that, you can then kind of see what would you fight for right now. And going from there. So the last one that I want to touch upon is our social pillar of resilience. As much as we might despise people right now, we need support in the bad times. There are going to be instances where my internal push, my internal mentality, my internal physicality, my internal spirit and drive are not enough. Having that support, the people to cheer you on as you are overcoming this, having someone to talk to about, you'll never guess what I accomplished today, what I did with my day today, or you'll never guess the day that I had today. Oh my gosh. And they're the ones to say, oh wow, that sounds awful. And I'm so sorry to hear that you had to go through that. Having those people is a game changer for resilience because you're not alone. No one is an island. No one is truly by themselves in this world. And if you feel right now that you are by yourself in this world, that sense of belonging that isn't there, the friends that you feel like aren't there with those common interests and those same values that are driving you forward. What I would encourage you to do, and this is how we build our social resilience. A, if you have it, continue to invest in it. People that matter to you, tell them that they matter to you and why. Be specific. Surround yourself with those resilient people, the ones that we gave a shout out to in the previous video. Reach out to them. Continue to communicate with them and keep them in your life and keep yourself in theirs, because resilient people will make great cheerleaders, right? They understand the grind. They understand what it takes to become resilient and to be tested and to rise to the occasion over and over and over again. they'll understand and have empathy for where you're coming from and what you're going through. If you feel like you don't have that, there have been many periods in my life where I have felt like I had to start over, right? I moved to a new place where I did not necessarily know anyone, and making friends as an adult is really difficult. It's a lot more challenging than we remember it being as kids. The way that you get around it, because unfortunately we're no longer, I don't know, you can try the tactic that worked as kids, right? Hey, what's your name? Do you want to be my friend? Do you want to come sit with me at lunch? Do you want to, right? There's no harm in going up to a stranger and just striking up a conversation, right? Depending on the day that they're having, depending on the type of person that they are, depending on the situation that you're in, maybe you're going to have more success sometimes over others. But that is a way to go, all right? That's the first way. And it takes vulnerability, and it takes you throwing yourself out there, and it's going to be a lot of weird glances and no's, but occasionally you're going to get that person who's like, heck yeah, let's absolutely go and have a conversation. Let's go chat. Love to hear it. Okay. Alternatively, and I think where a lot of us might feel more comfortable, is the idea of going back to those values, seeing what it is that you find an interest in, what you love to do, what brings you alive. Go do it. And I guarantee you, there will be other people already there doing it. If you like to go hiking and enjoy the outdoors, there are hiking clubs. Go find one in your community. If you want to try something new, like pottery or photography, there are art classes, there are photography groups that meet up. Go find them. Even better, if you're trying to do this like kind of the inexpensive way, go to places, for photography's sake, go to places where people are taking a lot of photos. I have right outside my door a ton of photogenic, beautiful spots that people love to take photos at. If I wanted to get into photography, all I would have to do is go to that place, wait until I see somebody there who's got a nice looking camera, and just, hey, I've got some questions. Do you mind answering them while you shoot? Can I see what you're doing? I've always wanted to get into this. Do you mind if I talk to you? And guaranteed, unless they are like so busy they can't have a conversation, in which case they're going to say, I'm so sorry, best of luck to you, but like I gotta do this thing. Okay, fine. But if they're passionate about it too, they're gonna make time to talk to you about it. Finding people with those common interests, right, with those passions, they will make time to talk to you so long as they have the time to do it. Those are the ways to build resilience in those 4 pillars of our person. Mindfulness, meditation, seeing stress as a challenge, and rising to the occasion. That's that. Eating well, sleeping well, and exercising well covers the body. Finding our purpose, our why, our drive covers down for the soul or the spirit one. And I would love to know, actually, what is your why? Get in the comments and tell me, like, what is it that gets you out of bed every day? What are your values? I would love to hear it, truly, because those are the things that what I want to know most about the people around me is what drives you. So I would love to hear what you all have to say. And then last but not least, that social pillar, finding other people who have that same drive, who have that same motivation, investing in those resilient individuals that you have identified and surrounding yourself with them and having their resiliency kind of trickle down to you, observing what they do in those stressful times and emulating that. Having support, just in general, for those bad times. Having that support system, right? Those are the ways that we build resilience in case you feel like perhaps you are not there yet. Thank you for taking care of you today. I really hope that you enjoy it. It does taste good, I promise you that. This has been Life's Table. My name is Em. Bon appetit. Okay, we're gonna go ahead ahead and get tucked in. I got my bacon on the inside. I covered it in syrup. Wow, this is just as good as I remembered it growing up. Pigs in the blanket are the best. Thank you for taking care of you today. I hope that you enjoy. Bon appetit.